What's going on, everybody? It's Zach. I'm back with another review. That was a good intro. Um, I'm going to be talking about Hurry Up Tomorrow. It's the new movie directed by Trey Edward Schultz and starring, written, and produced by Abel Tesfaye, aka The Weeknd, who is a massive pop star. And I'm going to be honest, I'm a fan of The Weeknd. I'm going to say this at the top of this review, and I'm still a fan of The Weeknd. Like, I was coming out of the screening, like, I put my AirPods in as the Uber picked me up, and I was blasting his songs. Like, I'm a fan, but we got to talk about this movie because this movie is like just like top of the show thoughts on this one. I have to just say that this film is a vanity project. Like, obviously this guy went through like a really, really traumatic breakup, and like it sucks. Go to therapy. Like, this movie, it cost $20 million, and like I said, it's directed by Trey Edward Schultz. It is Jenna Ortega and Barry Keoghan, and like these actors are acting out this guy's like trauma fantasies, and then it all culminates in him staring directly in the camera. Like, fuck, I don't want to get ahead of myself. I don't want to ruin the film. I don't know, man. This movie was interesting. I really like Trey Edward Schultz. Waves is one of my favorite movies of the last couple of years. I think that I was really excited going into this because, like, The Weeknd is on a bit of a bad streak with The Idol. They even make, like, a bit of a joke at The Idol where, like, Barry Keoghan, who plays his manager, is like, we tried the acting thing. That was kind of, like, I am so just fascinated. I'm sorry, this review is going to seem very, like, I'm going to go on a lot of tangents, but, like, we're going to get there in the end, trust me. This movie is just so bizarre because, you know what? I'm just going to start off with the positives. And my first positive is Jenna Ortega's performance in this is absolutely incredible. She is just, well, like, here's the thing. The Weeknd, like I said at the top of this, I'm a fan. This dude, I really don't know what's going on because it's the same issue as The Idol, where like he's got people like Lily Rose Depp, and I'm trying to remember other actors in that show, but like, and he wasn't very good in The Idol, but this is like a new, there's a scene in this where like Jenna Ortega is crying and he's like, what the fuck, I gotta go for my tour, and like it's just so, like, it almost reminded me of like Megalopolis when John Voight pulls the arrow boner, and like that level of acting, and I'm just sitting in the theater like, what? And I went with a coworker, and this movie, like, it's so like abstract and like not, like, I didn't even know what it was going to be. The funniest part was, so the screening that I went to last night started with a music video. I had no idea that it was going to, I have no idea if the theatrical release is going to start with the music video that I saw. I had no idea, like I said, this was even going to start with a music video. I've said that like twice, but I just, like, this movie starts with a ad card for the album before the logos even come up. There's an ad card saying buy Hurry Up Tomorrow, the album. And like, I've heard him talk about in interviews that the film was the genesis of the project. It wasn't like the songs came after the movie, and that just fascinates me because the album Hurry Up Tomorrow is absolutely incredible. Honestly, is probably my favorite album of 2025 so far. But the film is just so baffling. It has no idea what it wants to be. My one, like I said, I'm going to start with the positives, and I know I went on another tangent about the Weeknd's acting, but like this movie is shot beautifully. Chase Irwin does the cinematography, and they shot it on 35. And the way that this movie like does aspect ratios, it does the same thing that Waves does, where like it starts in 185. Well, it I think it starts at 166, but and then it goes out to 185, and then it shrinks down to 235, and then it goes to 166 again, and then it ends at 185. And that was, I really liked the way that they chose the aspect ratios. It felt very personal. Like that was the one part of the film that I really liked. And I noticed that Trey Edward Schultz also edited this film, so that I will give him credit for. This film is very well edited. Like I said, in terms of like craftsmanship, incredibly well done. Johnny Byrne is the sound mixer on this, and he like the there are certain scene there's a scene in the beginning of this movie that's basically just like a bunch of like a cacophony of sound and color and music and everything of the sorts, and it's just kind of like really overwhelming, and I loved it. It's that part was great. And then so the I'll get into the negatives now. Jesus, this is a long review. This is going to be a super long video. So Jenna Ortega plays a woman who, the film opens, by the way, full spoilers for Hurry Up Tomorrow, but like from this point forward. If you have not seen the film, then turn the video off. I've been talking for like 6.5 minutes, 7 minutes now. So like you've had your Zach Conway review, Phil. So if you've seen Hurry Up Tomorrow, or if you just don't give a fuck, just stay here. So spoiler warning. But so the film opens with Jenna Ortega burning down a house, and you're not given any that's one thing about this movie that I don't like, is that there's not, well, it's not that I don't like it, it's just really interesting the lack of context of what's going on. You're just kind of thrown into this like cocaine addled journey, like psychedelic experience. And like Jenna Ortega's burning a house down, and she drives away, and then she steals gas from a gas station and drives away. And then we meet Abel, who is listening to a voicemail left by his girlfriend, who is voiced by Riley Keough, who I thought that was kind of cool, I gotta be honest. And we hear this voicemail in full, and we realize that Abel has kind of just been drifting since this breakup. And I just realized this is going to be kind of like a plot recap, I guess. But so Abel is like just not in a good place. And they, like, the cinematography, the way that it's shot, I really enjoyed that part of it, like I said. But the story of Abel being just psychologically broken, and then this woman kind of just snaps him back to reality. And I just wasn't a fan of the abstractness of it all. Honestly, I gotta be real. Now that I'm talking about it out loud, this does sound like a pretty cool movie. I might up my score. But it's just, the only negative here is, like I said, some of the Weeknd's acting isn't the greatest, but Jenna Ortega is great. And she gets a really funny scene at the end that's kind of like the scene in American Psycho where Patrick Bateman plays Huey Lewis, except she's playing Weeknd songs, and I honestly found that kind of funny. This movie, it's a really interesting one to recommend, I gotta be honest with you, because if you're not a fan of The Weeknd, or you don't like any of his music, you're gonna be turned off by this instantly. Like, but if you are a fan of The Weeknd, you're gonna probably think this movie is like a masterpiece. It's very like A24 Euphoria core. I can see this like maybe not doing well in theaters and then hitting digital, but who knows? I don't know. I recommend people go see this. This is a cool, like, even though it's not very good, it's still a cool movie. So go see it. I'm going to rate it 3 out of 5. I've been talking for 10 minutes, so please like, share, and subscribe. And I will see you in the next review, which should be Mission Impossible. So, yeah. See you guys then. Take care. Toodles.